Hello again everybody, welcome back for the last part of day 2 of my trip to Cornwall on Bobby the Bullet. Seems like a long time ago we left Dumfries. It was just before 9 o'clock in the morning when we set off, and it's now nearly 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's about 9 hours up to now. Seems a lot longer than that somehow. This time we're leaving Capel Curig and finishing at Porthmadog. We're going to get a bit wet. It started raining just before we got to Capel Curig, and it doesn't stop until we get to Beddgelert. As with the last time, there'll be two versions of the video, one in darkness as it happened and the other in daylight. There's very little happens in the nighttime footage as with the other nighttime rides, so to make it more interesting I'm going to do a recap of the ride so far, from when I set off through to now. When I look back at the footage, there's actually quite a lot happened, particularly on day 2, so I think there's plenty to keep us entertained as we ride through the darkness to Porthmadog. Okay, that's enough talking about it. Let's get started with setting off twice.
Right, hello everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm on the road to Cornwall. It's what time is it? No idea. It's about 9 o'clock I think, just after 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. At least it's not raining, it's not that cold. It's a little bit chilly but it's not freezing. Oh, well, at the moment the sat-nav is saying I'm going to arrive at the hotel at 20 past 3 in the afternoon. I seriously doubt that. Oh, I didn't bring my chain lock or my disc lock or anything. Oh, you fool. Oh, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back. I knew I'd forget something. I just knew it. Right. Try again. It's now midday. 3 hours wasted. Ah, well, never mind. I got a cup of coffee and something to eat, so it'll save me half an hour.
Next we had the diversion at Furness, which took us down a very interesting little road where we caught our first glimpse of the Cairngorms, the dusting of snow.
What? Oh, for goodness sake. Oh. Well, that's not going to do my time any good, is it? Oh, well. Well, I'm going to get a good soaking just to finish off. View of the Cairngorms with snow on the top there.
Right, now we're going to head up to the top of the Lecht. This was the first real test for Bobby, and I have to say he passed with flying colours. So I think we'll watch all of the ride up the Lecht from the bottom to the top.
Right, here we go up to the top of the Lecht. Well, you made short work of that, Bobby. Well done. What a brilliant wee bike. Okay, all the way to the top of the Lecht, more or less in 5th gear.
Okay, back in real time, well, sort of. We've just passed the turn off at Penny Pass and we're heading down towards Beddgelert. The road turns into single track just now. It's quite twisty, it's raining, it's dark, so I think we'll stick with it to the bottom of the hill. I know one or two of you enjoy watching me struggle.
Yes, a good soaking indeed. Not sure what the point is.
I'm talking about wiping the camera lens here. When I was actually on the ride, I didn't think I'd be putting out video of riding in the rain and the dark. I didn't really think there'd be much point. But as I said a few minutes ago, some people like to watch me suffering. Anyway, back to the recap. In this next clip, we're riding towards and then to the top of the Cairnwell Pass, the highest point on UK public roads.
Well, it's certainly chilly up here. I'd be struggling without these handlebar muffs. I'd be seriously struggling. There we go, just come up to the highest point on UK public roads. That's it. Oh, and the petrol light's flashing. I'm not surprised, mind you.
In this next clip, the light's starting to fade on day one, and this is where I come to the realisation that the DJI Osmo action camera isn't great in the dark. Well, the footage from the DJI is now getting almost unwatchable. It's still slightly better than the unstabilised helmet camera footage, but not much better. And it's certainly, the video quality is not as good as the helmet camera. It's suffering quite badly from the failing light now. As we're heading from Dunkeld through to Crieff, in this next clip we get a chance to see how effective the LED bulb is and the spotlights, because it's getting properly dark now.
Yeah, that's the LED bulb looks reasonably okay. That's main beam on the LED bulb plus the spotlights. In fact, I would say that's very good. That bulb, the dip beam on it is excellent.
Well, after the open countryside and almost empty roads we've had for most of the journey so far, we finally reached rush hour in Bridge of Allen, and then the stop-start ride through Grangemouth. But we have to get through it. Now we've reached the point where the nighttime footage is getting a bit uninteresting, and I decided to try and make it a bit more interesting by adding some daylight footage. So here's the first example of it in part 9, followed by part 10 where I put daylight footage on the whole video. The footage you're looking at just now is recorded in November 2019 on a trip I did to the Isle of Wight. That was actually the last long trip that I did before COVID and the nonsense that happened around that. The daylight footage we got this time was recorded in August 2017 on a trip I did to Dumfries, and I was on a GSA. And then finally on day 1 we reached Dumfries. Right, we finally arrived at the hotel in Dumfries. It's 8:30 in the evening. We've done 365 miles and I'll be very glad to get some sleep. On day 2 we're leaving Scotland, heading down through the Pennines, over into North Wales and stopping for the night in Porthmadog. Okay, back at the end of day 2 and we're just coming into Beddgelert. So we'll take a break from the recap just for now and watch a bit more of the end of day 2. And this was the last week in November. They've got the Christmas lights up already. I'm pretty sure that's the first Christmas lights we've seen. I don't remember seeing them anywhere else. Okay, back to the recap at the beginning of day 2. And the first thing I did was to fill up with some very expensive petrol in Dumfries.
You don't mind ripping people off, do you?
And in the next clip, I managed to get myself lost on the mean streets of Brampton, which is some achievement considering there's only about half a dozen of them.
Oh, what? Oh, you are kidding me. Which road is closed? Oh, you're joking.
And not only did I get lost, but the camera ran out of juice. So the rest of the morning turned into a right palaver.
Camera doesn't seem to be on. To find a spec to pull in and check it.
What the hell? What's going on here?
That's what's going on. How did that happen? Oh, I'll change the battery. Try again.
If you take the junction coming up on the left hand side here, it takes you over Pont Aberglaslyn and through to Harlech. But we're carrying straight on to Tremadog. Right, getting back to the camera issues. Having opened the case to change the battery and let some rain in, the camera lens proceeded to steam up constantly the rest of the morning. Well, the weather had been overcast but not too bad up to now. But as soon as we got into the North Pennines heading down to Alston, the wind started. After Alston, we started climbing up into the clouds for the first time. It got wetter and it was still windy as we crossed over into Teesdale.
Oh, it's pretty grotty up here.
Well, if we thought the wind was bad coming down into Alston and through into Teesdale, it was about to get a lot worse riding down into Brough.
There's a strong wind right in my face.
Having survived the wind and the rain on the moors, it was time for a bit of jousting at Pendragon Castle with an ogre and his big grey monster.
And we're back to full on rain. Shit. You were going a bit fast, weren't you?
Then it was time to ride up into the clouds again as we rode over the coal road from Garsdale Head before stopping for a minute to get some peace and quiet by the River Dee.
Well, can't hang about.
After that very brief rest, we rode past the Rubblehead Viaduct down into Ingleton, and then it was back up into the clouds again as we went over the Cross of Greet in the Forest of Bowland. Well, after all that wandering in the wilderness, it's time to fill up with petrol and run the motorway Gauntlet to North Wales, where we see the sun for the first time on day 2 as it sinks behind the hills.
Right, we're juiced up, we just need to keep going.
Back in real time, we've just reached Tremadog, so not far to go now, but we've still got a bit of recap to do. And after leaving Trefnant, we catch a glimpse of the moon through the trees as the sun finally goes down below the horizon. Now we're in deepest, darkest Wales, and we come across the Devil's Barbecue, closely followed by one of his hounds from hell. Then I did the one thing you shouldn't do around here. I took a wrong turn.
No, I've gone the wrong way. This is the second time I've done that.
And just to finish it all off, I get chased by the terrible terrier of Betws-y-Coed. Okay, we've reached the end of day 2. We've finally arrived at Porthmadog. On day 3 we begin the last leg of the journey down to Cornwall. In part 1 we'll be leaving Porthmadog and reaching Barmouth. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've been watching from the start of the series and you're still here, you're doing well. But remember, we're only a third of the way through. Long way to go yet. Anyway, thanks for subscribing if you have done. Thanks for your comments and your likes. And I'll speak to you again when we start day 3. Bye for now.